Weapons is a new horror movie that's released, and what got me intrigued about this movie was the story. The story for this movie is that at 2:17 AM, every child from Mrs. Grady's class woke up, got out of bed, went downstairs, opened the front door, ran into the dark, and they never came back. There were no clues of their disappearance except for the ring footage that recorded them running away. Things get suspicious, however, when you realize that the missing children were all in this one teacher's class. This causes the entire town to be suspicious of the teacher, who seems just as shocked by this mysterious incident as everyone else. But did she have something to do with it? Or was it something else entirely? This is a great hook for this movie, and you are genuinely interested in finding out exactly what is happening here. Now, the writer and director of this movie, Zach Cregger, made another horror movie that people went crazy for, Barbarian, and I thought that movie was just okay. And when I saw the runtime for his new film Weapons, it was 2 hours and 8 minutes long. And I was not in the mood to watch a horror movie that was over 2 hours. But I will say, it used its time well, and I was never bored with it. If anything, I wish it was about 10 to 15 minutes longer. Now, this is not a conventional horror film. It has horror elements, but it's more a psychological thriller with some comedy. Now, I know how that sounds, but to its credit, it works. For the most part. And I also feel like if they wanted to, they could have made this without the horror elements. Now, the horror brings in a wider audience, but you can tell that the horror was not the motivation for this story. And it's just so interesting to see how this town would react to this situation, and how they take out their frustrations on this teacher who appears just as confused and hurt by this as they are. And the movie splits itself into several different chapters and focuses on one individual character at a time, kind of like what we saw in Pulp Fiction. And it does this so it can show you the story from different perspectives, and then it all comes together in the end. Well, again, sort of. And I thought this was a very effective way of telling the story, and it gives a lot of development to several of the characters. Julia Garner, who plays the teacher, gets a ton of development, and she starts out seeming very innocent, and you feel bad for her when the town treats her so poorly, but as the movie unfolds, you find out that she is actually kind of a bitch. She's a complete mess and also has a victim complex, and she really needs to get her shit together. But she was a very well developed character. And then we have Archer, played by Josh Brolin, who is the father of one of the missing kids, and he was by far my favorite character. You can see the pain and guilt that he is going through, to the point that he sleeps in his missing kid's bed at night because he misses him so much. And he is the only member of the town who is the most active in finding his missing kid, as he goes on his own investigation to see if he can piece together what happened. And he hates Justine, the teacher, and says that she is the one that is behind the kid's disappearance. And the cops say, okay, how did she do it? How did she kidnap them? Because the footage shows that all the kids went out on their own, and Archer has no answer. And Josh Brolin perfectly portrays this character, and we almost didn't get him. And do you know why? Because originally, Pedro Pascal was cast in the role. Yep, Pedro Pascal would have been in another movie this summer, and I'll tell you right now, he wouldn't have been right for it. If anything, I think he would have definitely hurt this film and prevented it from reaching its full potential. Not only because people would talk about the crazy amounts of movies he is in, but because he would have delivered a very familiar performance to what he has done before with Joel, and he doesn't have as much range as Brolin has. Josh Brolin couldn't have been more perfect for this role. He delivers the very angry and intense, yet also patient performance that this character needs, and Pedro has never been as intense as he needed to be. His performance as Joel from The Last of Us has proven that. But Josh Brolin and the torments that his character goes through over his missing kid was very effective to watch. The rest of the actors also do a great job. The interesting thing when you watch this movie is that for the most part, it's a drama, but then out of nowhere, something crazy will happen and it makes you go, what the fuck? And the movie incorporates these moments so well, because it keeps you on edge, and no matter how calm things appear, you're waiting for the next crazy thing to happen. And the movie never lets you down in this regard. So the acting and the directing was so well done in this film, and by the time we get to the end, it becomes more of a dark comedy, because I was tense when watching, but I was laughing at the same time. And the directing and filmmaking on display, particularly in the climax, was so well done. So, let's get to the problems with the film. Now, there were 4 big problems with this movie. The first one is that once you piece this movie together, there are things that don't make sense. And that leads into the second problem. When the movie is over, it leaves you with questions. Questions that I feel we deserved the answers to. And that leads into problem 3. The movie ended very quickly. There was no epilogue where we see our remaining characters' lives after all this torment, and when a movie is over 2 hours, it needs to have an epilogue. And this movie just gave us a quick and rushed narration to end the story, and then the movie was over. And when movies do this, it just makes the movie feel like, oh, okay, I guess that's over, time to go. And they really should have given us a better ending. I don't know if the runtime had anything to do with this, but that brings us to problem number 4. The Cop and the Junkies chapters, if you've seen that Big Bang Theory joke about how Indiana Jones was not even an essential character in his own film, that's kind of the effect that these two characters have in this movie once we get to the end. They ultimately did not play a part in the overall movie, and what little they did contribute to the film could have been done without dedicating such long chapters to them. And not only that, but there were certain other characters where I was like, I think I would have liked to have seen them have a dedicated chapter as well, such as this woman right here who looks like Ronald McDonald's crazy sister. And smaller problems I had is that the great scene in the trailer that got everyone talking about this film, it was so intense and eerie in the trailer, but in the beginning of the movie, it was played off to a song number, and that sucked all of the creepiness out of it and was the worst possible choice they could have made, especially to those who have not seen that incredible trailer, and it felt like James Gunn just took over the movie for a second. Also, there was a really violent scene in the end, but I think it should have been even more violent. It should have been downright Terrifier levels, or as close as they could get with an R rating. Also, the ending the movie had, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I think I actually would have liked a more Hollywood ending. It's so close to being a Hollywood ending anyway that I think they might as well have gone all the way. That would have been better than leaving things the way they did, and when you combine that with the abrupt ending, again, it made the movie feel like, well, that's over. And that did make me walk away not feeling as satisfied as I should have, and so easily could have if the movie just did a little bit more. It just makes it much less memorable, and I would even say it makes it less rewatchable, because as much as I liked this film, I don't think I will watch it again for a long time. So my score for Weapons is a low 8 out of 10. Here's a fun fact about this movie. Did you know that Jordon Peele had such a hissy fit over this film? Apparently, Weapons had a bidding war, and Jordon Peele really wanted the studio to buy this movie so he could put his name on it as a producer. And in the end, Warner Brothers ended up winning the bid, and Jordon Peele had such a meltdown that he ended up firing members of his team for losing the bid to this movie. Quite frankly, Get Out was his only really good film. His later efforts have not gotten him the same acclaim, both critically and commercially. So it's no wonder he wanted to slap his name on as a producer for this film. And I can see why someone would want to put their name on this. Weapons is a very well directed and acted movie, and the mystery was really enjoyable. If it fixed the problems I mentioned, then it would have gotten a 10. But sadly, that is not the case. That being said, if you're looking for a new horror movie to watch, then I would highly recommend it. You can wait to see it on streaming if you want to, but if you pay to watch it in theaters, I'm certain that you will have a very good time. Be sure to let me know what you thought of Weapons in the comments below, and make sure you watch this movie without watching any trailers, because trust me, it's best if you go into this movie blind like I did. And as always, a huge thanks to my patrons. If you join my Patreon, you will gain access to trailer reactions, get early access to versus videos, and also be invited to my private Discord server. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell right next to it so you can stay up to date with all of my future videos. Thank you very much for watching everyone, and I will see all of you very soon. Take care.